This podcast is part of the Global Sports Podcast Network, the only network bringing you exclusive daily news and views on your Premier League team, the Premier League, women's football, and fantasy football. A unique listening experience that puts fans first, bringing you the very latest breaking news from your team. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and make us your first listen every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network. Every club, every day.
Every club, every day. The Global Sports Podcast Network.
Hello. Welcome to another episode of the Daily Premier League in English podcast. How are you all feeling, lads?
Over the moon.
Over the moon? All right, so we're going to go quick introductions from everyone. Your name and one-word summary of how you're feeling right now. Let's start off with top right, Jamie. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm good, and as I said, I'm just feeling on cloud nine right now.
Cloud nine. Rodney, how are you, lad?
Yeah. I'm Rodney, guys, and then how I'm feeling? Sensational. Just like the performance I witnessed across both legs. Sensational.
Cloud nine, sensational. Let me get a pen and paper. I need to write these down. All right, let's get to Nick next. Nick, how you feeling?
Surreal. I can't believe it said 5-1 to Arsenal.
Cloud nine, surreal and sensational. And Craig, we're going to have to lap it up with you. Is it best for last or worst for last?
Buzzing.
Okay, that's clearly best for last. All right. I am Eshan. Welcome to another episode. Let's get right into it. Nick, do you want to start us off? Who did you feel was man of the match tonight? Who do we feel was or maybe an underdog?
Rice was ridiculous. He came straight in from last week winning man of the match with his two ridiculous free kicks. And he turns up to the Bernabeu as if he's played there his entire life. He was just completely unfazed. Like, he was sweeping everything up. He was driving our midfield forwards when I don't think Partey and Odegaard had particularly great games. He was sort of just carrying us forward. Like, just ridiculous levels for a guy who gets criticised so often, especially online, it feels like. And I think he shut everyone up today, especially.
Fantastic. Rice. I would not have had him as my man of the match. Does anyone have a hard disagree or another contender that we'd throw out there? Referee, maybe?
Ref was so bad.
Took the sting out of the game after that penalty that was called for Madrid in the first half.
There's so
Jamie,
many
what are your
yellow
thoughts
cards
after the
he didn't
game
give as well.
I mean, we kind of, like, everyone kind of said it before the start of the match, and that is Rice cooks better with the lid on. That is a saying we've heard over and over again, and as I sit here, I'm just watching the highlights, and Saka going like this and then going like this. I mean,
who else?
What a cold celebration, but
Yeah, it's amazing.
wow. You know, there was so much talk from the Real Madrid camp about remontada. Well, what happened to remontada? And for those of you listening that don't know what remontada means, in Spanish means comeback.
Yeah, I haven't been on the internet this week.
didn't quite happen, but you know, over the two legs, all jokes aside, over the two legs, Arsenal really kind of shone through and, you know, really kind of showed and shocked the footballing world. I mean, I kind of titled it last week as one of the podcast episodes, but just the performance alone over the two legs has been unbelievable. Got to give Kivior a big shout out here because, you know, for someone like Kivior, he's come in place of Gabriel. And, you know, in previous games, we have kind of criticised Kivior for not being good enough. But, I mean, he's had two pretty decent games against pretty much one of the best footballing sides in the world. And as well as the performance on Saturday against Brentford, which was not too bad, you know, continue playing the way he is. It's got to be thought, at least, or Arteta's got to at least take Kivior a bit more seriously when choosing his future starting lineups, because last few games he's been really impressive.
Yeah.
I don't think he'll be dropping Gabriel for him even when he's fit, but I think he showed...
No, I do agree with you in that, Nick. Yeah, absolutely. But, you know, it's good knowing that if Kivior can continue this, you know, consistent games, if it's till the end, you know, till the end of the season, and say he does well for Poland during the course of, like, the World Cup and so on. I mean, during, like, the international breaks and so on, but I think, you know, it's just good knowing that we could turn to Kivior if, say, Gabriel or Saliba is injured.
Yeah, I think he's proved
I think for a lot of Arsenal fans as well, they always thought that Kiwior kind of stepping up, there would be a huge drop-off in quality. I think there's been times where he stepped up into that centre-back role before, and he's made a few key mistakes. He hasn't looked really that too comfortable on the ball as well. You know that, Kiwior being your first choice for centre-back, even amongst an injury crisis, is a bit of a shaky ground. And this one was it was an incredible game to step up in. And you would have thought that maybe even after the first leg, you could see he made one small mistake, not too composed on the ball, and Mbappe threw it on goal. You thought this could spell the end for the tie, and really the story for how the rest of the two legs was going to go. But after that, no, I was surprised. He locked in, really kind of decided to perform well, and I was really surprised. Probably some of the best performances I've seen from Kiwior in an Arsenal shirt, and I agree. Very impressed.
I think today he just seemed to put his head on every single ball. And as much as he's been proved unbelievably useful as a backup, there was some talk from at least people I've watched or like followed online where it's like maybe we sell him in the summer, like he wasn't sort of proving to be anything, and ultimately his transfer value is probably not ever going to be higher than at the end of the season if he continues like this. So it's helpful for us, and even going forward if the club want to part ways at the end of the season for whatever reason, which I don't think they will with how well he's playing. It's working out for us beautifully at the moment.
No, agreed.
Yeah, I would also agree with Nick. Before the Arsenal Real Madrid games, I think like many people, I looked at the back line and thought there's a hole there with Gabriel gone. And again, he was when I looked ahead at the summer window, Kivior seems to be like the easy replacement. Now I guess maybe there's a replacement in Tomiyasu. I think Tierney's probably going to Celtic, if I'm not mistaken. He's locked in for that. But now Kivior does seem like that perfect squad player. From my memories of growing up with United, I think that was what United had better than any team. Was we had such great squad players. Like a Wes Brown could come in for the entirety of like the 2008 like back end of the season, and then come up with the assist to Ronaldo in the Champions League final. Like having a player that comes in and does a 9 out of 10, 8 out of 10 job week in, week out, when they haven't been getting those minutes, when they don't have that from the outside, that confidence, the people aren't talking about them in that way. It's purely internal. I think Kivior did a fantastic job today and last week as well.
I think, like you say, especially like it was 2-3 weeks ago, Gabriel got injured. So how quickly he's had to get up to speed as well. And his first full game was Real Madrid, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
Maybe second. To get up to speed so quickly is really impressive as well. I think some big talking points from today's game as well is Saka, you have that penalty 10 minutes in, and he Panenkas it to the side, which I'm not entirely sure if he meant to put it to the side. I watched his CBS interview and he didn't really address it much. But his bounce back from that, we've seen him go through like pretty crucial penalty misses in the past, and to have one so early, like his head didn't drop at all. he ends up chipping Courtois in the second half to give Arsenal the lead. Like, he's so good, and it's like it still feels like he isn't rated to the level he should be, because he was giving Alaba hell across both ties.
Was, yeah. And
They
also, go on, Craig.
They were just kicking our players in the first half. Every time we got the ball in crucial areas, just kicking. Rudiger should have got sent off. Asensio should be sent off as well. He was just doing some disgusting challenges and all that. So it was just, we did what we had to do. Got the win. Left the Bernabeu, let them cry.
Yeah.
We got the win, so let them cry. Oh my gosh.
So this is sounding a lot like AFTV right here. This is...
You talk about
the press. The press.
I wrote in my notes, the final note I wrote in the first half was there's so much diving and there's so much fouling going on. And then the first thing for the second half was Belling was so petulant. Like, there was a few times early in the second half just flying through some of our players, and then there's a moment he chucks, I think it was Timber to the ground.
Yeah, he chucked Timber to the ground. I'm like, ridiculous.
There's another moment he just fucking boots the ball the end of the pitch. I'm like, what are you doing? And somehow he didn't get a card. Like, it's...
Yeah, there was a few like that. I think Rudiger as well, we were talking about this earlier, I said still very lucky, because he seemed to just lose his head in the game, him and Jude as well, just moments where you can see that they're not breaking down this kind of 3-goal deficit, they're getting frustrated, tossing players to the ground, late challenges as well, and Mbappe had 1-2, it was ridiculous, the one on Rice where he ended up injuring himself. You can tell that the Real players, they're expecting this comeback, there's so much pressure on them, they're at the home, they've got this massive atmosphere pushing them to go forward, and they're just unable to break down Arsenal too compact, and you can tell that it's just bleeding out to petulance, and it ended up kind of stifling the game a little bit, but I'm glad we could play through it and not let it get us down.
Do you know what's really funny though, right, Rodney? Because I kind of briefly mentioned it to you on our group chat, which was the fact that why did I suddenly get flashbacks from the weekend with Martinelli? Because me and Rodney were both at the Brentford game, and where I was sat literally in the lower tier. And where the Martinelli challenge had happened, I just thought, right, surely Norgard's got to be sent off. And at that point, I thought, oh, well, surely that's got to be a red there. You know, really reckless, but no. Just no. It didn't seem to be anything near a red. But look, at the end of the day, we've got that win now. All eyes now really are on the PSG game. And I think for Arsenal fans as well, I mean, there's not been a lot of expectation, a lot of, you look back at maybe previous rounds, we've always gone out in the round of 16 and everyone's always said, like, oh, well, if it's Arsenal against a big team, it seems like, we might do decent in the first leg at home and then we go away and crumble. But I mean, there was a lot of resilience shown from tonight's game. And I think, another player that really did well, especially being at the Bernabeu as well, was Miles Lewis-Skelly.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid, I said it last week, but it's like this kid doesn't know what pressure is. It's like he doesn't know what pressure is.
It's ridiculous.
Honestly, so good. Absolutely, really, he's so quality. The only thing, there is one small doubt, or not doubt, but there was one small kind of point that I was kind of gutted about, was not seeing Ethan Nwaneri come on.
Yeah.
I thought when the Saka substitution came on, that's when you'd see Ethan, but instead Trossard comes on that side. Yeah, moves Martinelli to the right. I was surprised by that.
Yeah, same here. I mean, what do you think? Why do you guys think that maybe Ethan wasn't maybe used for the last maybe half hour, 25 minutes, if that?
It's a great question.
I think it's the physical nature. I think Nwaneri is maybe like slightly hasn't learned like how we defend yet potentially, and I think just he's not like got lightning speed either to then benefit us on the break. So I think having Trossard a massively more experienced player to come in, I think it's understandable. I'd if he came on, I would have rather seen him come on for Odegaard, but again, like you're not going to take off the guy who's leading the press.
Yeah,
in a game where, like, as much as we had a 3-goal lead, like we don't want to sacrifice that just to give a 18-year-old some minutes at the Bernabeu.
Yeah, no, spot on. Yeah. Absolutely spot on.
But let's talk about Odegaard. I mean, the performance tonight, guys, what did you think? Because I agree with Nick. I was like, if there was a game to maybe pull him and kind of replace, I thought there were definitely moments in this one where, I don't know, a couple miss-hit passes, a couple of times where it's the wrong decision made in the final third. The last action wasn't really clean from Odegaard too. A couple of moments where he could have easily shot and he's decided to make a little pass and he's lost possession too.
Yeah.
Odegaard wasn't on his A game, but he also wasn't terrible. But I looked at him and I thought his performance in the first leg was much better than what I saw of him today.
I thought that it was six out of 10 performance from him today. It was very poor in the first half. Second half, he got better when he made that counter attack for Saka to score. He got the ball and played it to, I think it was Micronutrient playing the ball to Micronutrient played the ball to Saka and he scored. But I thought maybe the pressure got to him today because he's back at the Bernabeu.
Old club.
The club that let him go, he wanted to prove that they've put the reasons for not selling him and all that. But maybe sentiment got into the way. Maybe the pressure got to him, but he still did well in the second half, to be fair. But I think in the first half, he gave the ball away like 10 times. But such simple passes he couldn't do. A simple pass to the right play. He had a chance to play Martinelli in the first half, and he hit it and it went out for a throw. So things like that as well. So yeah.
To be honest with you, I feel like with Martinelli, I feel like it's been a confidence thing. Since he's come back from injury, we've not seen that same Martinelli. The same Martinelli that isn't afraid to try and take a risk. I feel like tonight he was a bit too reserved.
I assume you mean Odegaard.
Yeah, Martinelli Odegaard, yeah.
Yeah.
No, for
Odegaard. I think with Odegaard, I think since injury, he's too reserved.
Yeah.
True.
You know, he hasn't been that same player we've seen in previous games. You know, before his injury, you know, the fear in him there was basically no fear in him. But I just don't know. Since the injury, I feel like it's kind of like not halted his progress, but it's, you know, there's been a change. There's been a bit of a shift. But I do agree with what you guys say, though, about how at the end of the day, he's coming to the Bernabeu. You know, he wants to show the club that let him go. Well, hold on. Well, you know, this is what I've done. This is what I've done at Arsenal since you've let me go. And you know, as Craig said, it was a bit of a 6 out of 10 performance. And you know, maybe I don't know. Maybe I'd like to hope that we can get the best out of him next season. You know, it might just be one of them things where we might just have to maybe, you know, we go on if we can continue going on this brilliant run we're in the Champions League, you know, and say we go far, say we end up winning the competition, it still would be nice just to, you know, I would just like to see the Martinelli we had before he got injured.
Well, the Odegaard, yeah. I mean,
the Odegaard, yeah.
I think every player. I think every player.
I'm still, like I said, I'm still on cloud 9, guys. I'm still on cloud
9. What I will say about the Odegaard injury is that he had about I was just checking right now on the side. He only had about a month and a half after he came back with his injury to play with Saka. So I feel like the biggest complaint about the Arsenal season from an objective standpoint, like I don't watch every Arsenal game, but is that they both kind of want each other to operate. Like Odegaard will take some pressure off of Saka and Saka will take some pressure off of Odegaard. And so the fact that the whole season, essentially, one has been missing has been really, I think, like damning to the overall picture and the fear factor of it. Because I think the both of them together, the way they operate, it's quite unplayable at times. So it's just been a few games back for Saka. So I would say that would be my biggest caveat to the Odegaard debate. Like, I don't think it's almost fair to judge him. Does that make sense?
I'd counter by saying he's also had 3-4 months to find solutions. True. And as much as he's come back from injury to a completely different environment, not just Saka being out, but Ben White's been out the whole time. But like eventually, as the captain, as the kind of lead creator, he has to find solutions eventually. And today, I'd agree with sort of the pressure of Real Madrid if we hadn't seen sort of the same performances since he's come back. So especially that first half, there was a moment like 20 minutes in where Saka's through on the inside of Alaba and he doesn't play the pass, he turns back. There's obviously the Martinelli's through on the left-hand side and he plays it behind him, which his passes like for counter-attacks annoy me a lot generally because it feels like he either forces the winger too wide or just like doesn't play it far enough in front of them.
Yeah,
I feel like it's just something he does.
Yeah.
So he wasn't offensively bad, but I think he could have helped us a bit more today.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Well, I think this is a good time to take our first break. There's a little bit of lull in the conversation there, finally, after all of you guys being on Cloud 9. And we'll return and probably talk a little about the Bayern and Inter game. Does it sound all right, lads? All right. All right. So I'm assuming not many of you guys watched the Bayern versus Inter game. Just something in my intuition is telling me that.
I've seen the goal.
It was a pretty cagey game, I'd say. I obviously had more eyes on the Arsenal game, but I was periodically looking at the Inter Bayern game. Kane took his goal pretty well, snapshot across the box. But then right after Bayern scored, Inter had looked like kind of flat the whole game, a little bit like more afraid to lose than they wanted to win. They obviously have the goal advantage going into it. But right after the Bayern goal, it's like they switched into gear and they finally like were pushing. And then I think it was 2 consecutive corners, 2 goals. One, Lautaro Martinez gets to the corner, heads it towards goal. Not a great shot, but Kimmich goes to clear and just takes that little bit too long, and Martinez prods through, and really very solid Pavard header at the near post where Kim definitely could have got to it if he was more like into the challenge, if he was more like Brexit means Brexit and like goes into it. And I think that just kind of set the tone for the rest of the match. The 2 goals was for such a physical team. I think Inter actually are like, I don't know if you guys have seen, but they're really like old team statistically. Like they, and I think this is mainly because of the like financial troubles that they went through. If you remember when they went to the Champions League final against City a couple years ago, that's Lukaku, etc. So we've seen the financial struggles, which means that they just have to have retain players. And even when they bought players like Marcus Thuram, he's like 27, so it's not like a young player is going to bring down the average at all. And I think it shows in the way they play because there's a lot of it's slow, but it's so there's a lot of experience, I'd say, behind their gameplay. Did you guys catch any of the game, or does anyone want to take the reins from me here?
To be honest, didn't catch much of it, but we discussed on yesterday's pod that we kind of said that in a way, Inter kind of really set themselves up for this game, by at least by bringing back a lead, to go away to Bayern Munich and to get a result in the way they did. I mean, for me, that is very impressive because to even go away to Bayern, we've experienced as Arsenal fans, we've experienced it quite heavily. But it's never easy to get a result from Bayern. And, being at home, being in front of a full house, you know what Italian fans are like. They love an atmosphere. They, and it's the San Siro. It's such a iconic stadium. And, a lot of people before the game was even kicked off in the first leg, I think, let's be honest, guys, did you all see Bayern progressing into the next round?
No.
Really?
No.
I really like this team.
I said to you last night, Jim. I said, I said Inter are going to go through. I said that I believe that they're missing a lot of key players. Like Neuer's out injured. Their backup keeper's not that great. The defense
Musiala's
is not
got
that good
injured.
either. Yeah, so the defense is
Musiala
not
was
that
such a
great.
miss tonight.
Yeah. So I felt that Bayern not going to go through. I thought that Inter, especially at home, they're strong at home as well. They beat us in the Champions League as well at home, so they're very good at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Inter have only conceded 5 goals this whole Champions League run. Like, I think that's an incredible feat for any team to do, and I think they kind of slipped under the radar this Champions League run. They've just been, because it's been none of them have been like glamorous victories. They've all been like 2-0, 1-0.
Yeah.
And so like you don't like puff your chest out after any of those, but they've just been quietly chugging along this whole Champions League run, and I hope it's like a more open game against Barcelona. We'll see how that goes, but I think that there's a lot more quality than they've been given credit for, and I think they'll be given a lot more flowers after today's victory.
Definitely.
I think they can do Barca as well. I know we'll get on to predictions.
Yeah.
After the next outbreak, but Inzaghi's one of the best managers in the world. Like I don't think he gets enough credit, probably because we don't see as much Italian football over here anymore, especially because they lost a load of the rights. But they just sort of do their job, and I'm really happy for Lautaro actually, because he's one of those players who feels like when the lights are shining, so often he seems to fall away, similar to the likes of Upamecano, and he scores a great goal the first leg. He scores again today, so I'm really happy for him, and I think they're sort of the sleeper pick to win this after us.
All right, let's use that as a segue. Let's take another ad and we'll make predictions and talk about the next leg.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think it's best to go straight back to the Arsenal boys, and let's start with who's the least confident out of you four for the next leg.
The least.
Do you know what? You've got to believe. Now that we're in a semi-final, you've just got to believe.
Yeah. Also, the thing about
beating Real Madrid, like
no, go on, Nick.
We beat Real Madrid. Who cares, man? Like, what's a PSG to a Real Madrid? Like,
exactly.
As much as they were a different team when we beat them 2-0, we battered them when we beat them 2-0.
Yeah,
and even watching Villa last night, a bit of physicality in that midfield, and they wilted massively. So as much as losing Partey for that, like, it's a big loss.
Yeah,
we saw what Rice did today. Rice in that midfield will be unbelievable. So, we got ruled out against Real Madrid. We'll probably get ruled out against PSG, but I don't think the players or the fans will lose any hope going into that semi-final.
Are we at home first leg or wait?
Yeah, we are
home first leg.
Yeah,
I think we need to go get a massive score in the first leg and then do what we did against Madrid. I think we have to have home as well. I think we've got to get a 4-0 win at home and go to because Paris is an intimidating place to go to, man. Like it's an intimidating stadium, man. Like, and I thought that if you get a 4-0.
We've seen it before with other English clubs. We saw it with Newcastle we saw it with Newcastle before. Seen it with Villa. So going away to PSG is never. It's not going to be comfortable. Not going to be comfortable at all. I do agree with Craig. I think we have to at least go and take a lead. We have to take a lead, even if it's a 1-0 lead.
Yeah,
we've still got to take a lead to Paris with us. Yeah. There's a few things for me though, is that midfield battle, but it's also the wingers as well. Yeah. We talk about, we haven't spoken about Dembele. What a season he's having. Like, what a season he's having.
Yeah, lights out.
And whoever comes up against him, they're going to have a job on their hands, put it that way.
Yeah.
Timber.
Also, the new signing as well.
Yeah.
Timber onto him.
Yeah.
Put Timber onto him, man. Timber
I imagine he'll be down the middle, and there'll be Kvaratskhelia probably left wing against Timber.
I imagine actually, like, the hardest thing about Dembele is he's just gonna drift, and like that's like I think it'll be a fully conscious, like, how do we set up our block and everyone like being on it like 24/7. I think that's the level he's been at all season. I think he's gonna know that individually the Arsenal team doesn't have too many holes in it, so he's gonna have to like find gaps in the game itself. So I'm very curious to see how that works. I think PSG Arsenal, it's gonna be such a good game in both legs. Even if it's cagey, it'll be so like intricate and tactical, and be interesting to see because PSG just don't have an off switch. They're just gonna go. That's all they know.
I mean, we made Real Madrid tonight resort to just crossing for 90 minutes, which I think if you told Arteta that before the game, he would have just laughed. So they are similar, like, as much as they play differently and they're even more fluid than the Real Madrid front line. It's like three relatively small, not particularly physical, like attackers. Like, if we can force them to just cross it in, which is easier said than done.
Yeah,
like there are obviously ways to win this tie, and I trust Arteta to set up a ridiculous game plan for a two-leg game like he has against Real Madrid.
I think my biggest question is who will be in the midfield for this first game? Because if Partey's out, is he going to drop Marino back and put somebody else up top, or?
Do you know what? That's a good question.
Yeah, Marino at 6 and what? Maybe Martinelli.
No, I'll put Rice at 6. Yeah. Rice 6, Marino 8, and then put Odegaard at 10.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but that's still.
I don't know how long Jorginho
that still means that there's
for.
someone else up top, right?
Do you know what? That's what I was thinking as well.
Yeah, so who's going to be down the middle? I'm like, right, is it Gabby?
But then my thing is, who do you play down the middle?
Yeah, Martinelli.
Look at
the goal he scored tonight. He went through the middle. Through the middle, he scored that goal. So he needs to go through the middle in the game.
Especially the amount they push on. Like, the wingers are bombing forward, like, and Marquinhos and Pacho, it's not ridiculously quick. If we can get it over them, like, I'd definitely go with Martinelli down the middle.
Yeah.
Just quickly, I'll quickly read you Arsenal's European record against Paris Saint-Germain because I've just got it here in front of me.
Okay.
So, 1994 away, we drew 1-1 in the Cup Winners' Cup. Then at home, we won 1-0, and then it was September 2016. We drew 1-1 away to PSG but then drawing 2-2 in just towards the end of November, and then obviously in our last Champions League game we won 2-0. So, do you think maybe a bit of history could maybe give us a little push in the right direction?
I agree. I thought Donnarumma's not a good goalkeeper anyway. Like, he's won the Euros. I don't think. No, I mean, no. I don't think he's that great.
I'm with you.
I don't think he's that great of a goalkeeper.
I think this Champions League campaign, he's stood up when needed to be counted a bit more. He made some massive saves yesterday. The second leg against Liverpool, he was unbelievable. But he will not claim a cross despite being 7 foot tall. It's it's ridiculous. Like, for a guy that tall to not be able to catch the ball, it's even worse than De Gea. It's ridiculous. So I completely agree. It's not a great keeper.
To be honest with you, I'd like to see what would happen from corners. Could you imagine Arsenal corner being whipped in and just Donnarumma just running out?
Misses it completely. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you probably get someone like Saliba
Yeah.
So he headers it into an empty net.
They did it at the start of the season, though. We played them. Saka had a free kick and he missed the free kick and it went in.
Absolutely.
He's not very good at set pieces. He's not very good at set pieces as well. He's very
great example.
All right, I think we're gonna go quick fire round of predictions.
Okay.
Do we want to do just first leg or first leg and aggregate score? Like do the whole shebang.
Just do the whole time.
Go on then.
All right, I'm not going first. I don't want to target on my back. Let's go Nick first. Nick, how you feeling?
I think I'm going to back us to win both games. Like I think we'll go through.
Cloud 10, basically. Win both games. Give me a scoreline, though. Let's get creative. Because
2-0 first leg and then 2-1 again.
Scores.
Yeah, 2-0 first leg, 2-1 the second leg.
2-0 first leg, 2-1 second leg. Wow. Expecting to go to Paris.
Real Madrid, Eshan.
I mean, fair enough. Jamie, how you feeling? Another win?
Yeah, do you know what? Like I said, we're in a semi-final now. We've got to dream big here. We have to dream big. You don't come this far and think, oh well, okay, I'm in the semi-finals now. We are literally 2 games away from a final. And for me, since we are at home, I'm also going to go with Nick. I'm also going to say 2-0 Arsenal. And I think when we go away, I think it's going to be cagey. I see it being 2-2.
Ooh.
I see it being 2-2. So I think that's That's a 4-2 aggregate win for Arsenal.
Well, I don't think I'm going to get anything different from the next two, but Rodney, where do you think you're going?
No, I think, if they come to the Emirates, I'm expecting us to just repeat the victory that we had over them early in the tournament. I'm thinking at the Emirates, come down, I think 2-0. However, I think going to the Parc des Princes, it's going to be tough. Also, they're a different PSG side from what they were before. I think it will be a cagey second half. I'm going to go with 1-1. Yeah, I'm going to go win it on aggregate, but I don't think the second leg away is going to go as easily or as smoothly as it did against Madrid today. I think it might be held us to a draw, but we win it in that first leg.
All right, and back to AFTV. You said 4-0 earlier. 4-0. Are you going to stick with that for your prediction, Craig?
Yeah, I think I thought I'll be confident. I think 4-1 at home.
4-1
1-1
give
away.
him a goal.
Wow.
I'd love to see it. I'd love to see it. But yeah.
What'd you say for the away leg?
1-1. It'll be a 1-1.
1-1. 4-1 and 1-1.
Craig, if this comes to fruition, I'm going to remember this.
Yeah.
Just to pop each of your balloons, I'm going to go with the PSG victory overall, just to preface it. I think obviously the first leg is going to be far more cagey than we think it's going to be. I think it's going to be 2 teams that want to get to the final, but kind of shudder a little bit. I think it's going to be more cagey than we think it's going to be. I'm going to go with a 1-1. But I think the second leg is going to open up. I think the second leg is where we see far more action. Maybe I'm wrong. I'm happy you were wrong. I just want good football.
1-1 in the first, and then in the second, what? Just PSG smash us?
Not smashes. No, I think it's going to be active, though. I think it's going to be active. I think I could see an Arsenal goal or something happens early on that gives Arsenal the advantage, but PSG get angry from it and come all guns blazing. So I'm gonna go 3-1 PSG the second leg.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right.
Teams pressing us is not a good idea. Probably
I should have saved the best for last. Let's move to the next leg. Because let's face it, we're not going to get much more except pure joy out of all of you guys. Talking about Arsenal now. Inter Barcelona. I know Nick earlier said that he is going to maybe back an Inter victory. How are you feeling? Let's start with Jamie this time.
Do you know what? To be honest with you, at the very start, I asked the boys who they see winning the Champions League, and I came out with Barcelona, and I had a lot of surprised reactions to Barcelona winning the Champions League. The thing is, for me, I think their home form will be great, but the thing is, and we saw it yesterday, which is the away form. You know, going away, Barcelona do not seem to enjoy away days out. So I think that's going to be really tough. I see it going to extra time, but I'm going to go... Oh, I'm going to really be risky. I'm going Barcelona to win it. I see Arsenal Barcelona. I see Arsenal Barcelona in the final.
Yeah.
That's
you
all I
want
see.
the rematch, don't you? Yeah. You want the 2006
as me and Rodney were saying it, me, Rodney, and Craig, we were saying it. We want to avenge 2006.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be sweet. That would be sweet.
Yeah.
Or double the twice the pride, double the fall. You know.
Also be horrible.
I just gotta put a little like villainy in your guys' day. Nick, are we backing Inter still?
Yeah, I think. Like, honestly, Dortmund probably could have got through yesterday. Like, if Dortmund were a bit more clinical, they're through like miraculously. I think it was also just probably Barca's worst game of the season. Yeah. Like they were showing Yamal on the bench, and it was the body language of a team that was getting knocked out, and they still had like a 2-3 goal lead. So I don't think it will be easy, but I think with how high their line is and how much Inter will be just happy to soak the pressure, Thuram, Lautaro, DeMarco and Dumfries on going up from wing back. I think like Barella just going, Thuram just run. Like I think they can catch them out and just have a really disgusting like 1-0, 2-0 across the two legs sort of win.
That's actually a great shout because if you looked at the first leg, both of those goals came from like 8 to 10 passes moved straight from the keeper, just straight out. And we talk about playing out of the back as like, I think a weakness for most teams. I think that's like the general narrative of playing in the back. Oh, it's injury, bro. It's like we're going to make a mistake here. But if you do it fast and especially through a high press, oh my goodness, it's lights out. And I don't know. That's a great shout. Rodney, where do you think that's going?
As much as I want history to repeat itself, I think I kind of have to back Nick here as well. I said, from what I've seen from Inter and also playing them early in the tournament, they just teams that like that free-flowing attacking football, Inter just stifle them. They just choke them out and then get them. Yeah. I could totally see Inter beating Barca across two legs. I could even see it maybe, they held the first game to a draw or whatnot, and Inter just edge it out in the second leg or whatnot. I can see it. I just don't know if Barca will be able to play the type of football we've been watching as a spectacle throughout La Liga against Inter. So, I might edge them just to win it. Maybe extra time, maybe pens, maybe they win it outright, but I think Inter could really creep up and beat them. It could be a major upset.
I did not expect this. 2-1 to Inter right now in the chat.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
And the Barca win was on like extra time / pens. Like, wow. Okay, Craig, where do you think you're going? Inter or Barca? Who you backing?
I think Inter are gonna do it.
Wow.
I got a feeling. I got a feeling. You know why I think Inter might do it? Because they've got good defense. Barcelona's defense is not that good. They're conceding too many sloppy goals. That's the only reason I'll say Inter. I think Inter will win the first game at home. If that Inter at home, they'll win the first game at home, and then they'll draw at Barcelona away. I think it'll be like a first 2-1 Inter win, then second leg will be a 1-1 draw, and then that's it.
Yeah, I think they're playing Barcelona away first leg, but yeah. Flip that.
Yeah,
they go there, just stink out. I think it's 0-0.
I do see.
And then 1-0 on the return.
It's kind of set up for them, It's Barcelona Inter, Champions League heritage, semifinals. Jose Mourinho down to 10 men and storms out of the Nou Camp.
It'll be so funny after everyone's been like sort of gassing how PSG and Barca have been playing, which has been beautiful to watch.
Yeah.
If you get a final of Arsenal versus Inter, like just two teams who love to defend.
Yeah.
It'd be so funny.
I am gonna stick with Barcelona, even though my head says Inter, but more just like my heart of watching Barcelona through the season and how much I love Yamal. He's oh my god.
Quality player.
Like if
so
Barcelona
good.
like cook for 10 minutes in these two legs, like there's nothing like just where they have one of those periods where they Inter for some reason they're floundering. They could be so clinical and they could just put the tie away. Because I think what like we talked about Yamal's body language on the bench, and I think that proves that they're so disappointed, not because they wanted to like they thought anything was riding on this Dortmund game, but they're trying to put a marker down. And I think they were so upset that they didn't put that marker down. They thought of that as a time to like show that they can stifle a team out even in the second leg, and they didn't do it. And I think to me that is a sign of a team that's gonna hit or should hit like a high mark because you're so upset and you want to have such high levels. So I'm gonna back Barcelona over these two legs. That was a wonderful pod, ladies and gentlemen. That 46 minutes. Only 2 ads. Thank you guys so much for coming on.
No, thank you for having us on.
Yeah, I had a fantastic time.
This win.
I was very concerned to be on the pod with 4 different Arsenal fans, but I think we weathered the storm, guys. I think I can go back to the sanity of talking to normal football fans. Until next time. Hopefully we'll have you guys on the next one after the PSG games and we can see PSG storm to victory.
Nah, not gonna happen.
All right. Until next time, boys.
Take care, guys. All the best.
Take care. Peace.
Later.
Oh, shoot. All right. Well, I'm just going to play this.